Shalom, shalom. It's El Dayo coming back one more time. Been going through the sealed book some more. And boy, let me tell you, when I say this is a book that just keeps on giving, it keep on giving. Giving honor where honor is due to all of the Hebrews out there, all of the Gentiles out there, honor to the Most High, His Son Yeshua, to the Ruach HaKodesh. Let's go into the sealed book because I've found two things that we need to let everybody know. First, we're going to go first to the sealed book. We're going to go in the sealed book. We're going to go on page 16. Words of Moroni, page 16. And we're going to identify who they call Moses. You know our Moses in the first stick is just called Moses. But they got another name for him in the 10 tribes of Israel's book. Not just in the sealed book, but in the book of More. They call him Moses something else. So Moses in here. Let's get it. This chapter is this page 16, sealed book of Mormon, starting at verse 9. Starting at verse 9. We in the words of Moroni. Verse 9. And it came to pass in the first days of the reign of Zedekiah, for how much LEHI returned from Babylon, together with Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, when they were jointly commissioned by the king of Judah to go to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. And they took with them a letter from Jeremiah the prophet, destined for the elders, the priests, and the prophets, and all the people exiled in the land of Shinar, that the Lord appeared to him in a pillar of fire. And after that event, he was no longer called by the birth name Eliza, but he became known by the name of God, called him, the name that God called him, LEHI, which corresponds to an abbreviation of Eliasib, whose meaning is by means of whom God restores. Now we got an identifying marker that LEHI, everywhere LEHI is mentioned, it is Moses. Let's get some more. Now we know that LEHI is Moses. When you read your book of More and you see him talking about LEHI, now you can identify LEHI with Moses. Same book, brothers and sisters, just different names. Now, let's get one more. Because I know a lot of you out there reading and you keep reading about the Nephites. We're going to page 142. We're going to page 142. 142 in the sealed book. And we're going to identify the Nephites. I've already told you guys in prior videos that the Nephites were the Hebrew Israelites. Well, now let's just basically prove it in plain words. Page 142, we're going to start at verse 5 on page 142. And it came to pass at the beginning of these days that there arose a people called the Nephites, and they were true believers in Christ. And there were 3 distinct tribes among them, whom the Lamanites called Jacobites, and Josephites, and Zamorites. Now these 3 tribes are part of the 10 tribes, because of the 3 disciples of Christ. For we individually minister, each among one of these tribes, each among one of these tribes, each among one of these tribes. Who live in here? The 10 tribes. Who they minister into? one of the 3 tribes. One apostle going to one tribe, another one going to another tribe, and another one going to another tribe. So now let's keep reading. The Lamanites called Jacobites and Josephites and Zaramites because of the 3 disciples of Christ. For we individually minister, each among one of these tribes, from which we descend, from which we come from. And all of the men, women, and children who formed the people of the church were called Nephites, independent of the tribe they belonged to. What? Independent of the tribe they belong to. What? Independent of the tribe that they belong to. So now, you got all these 3 tribes. Let's say Gad, Asher, and Simeon. All of the people that formed the church was called Nephites. But that doesn't take away from the tribe that they was from, because when they got out of church, they went back to the tribe. So now we got a record that the people that formed the Church of Christ were called Nephites, though they belonged to the tribes. I told you they was Hebrew Israelites. That's just a name for their church. The Nephites, the people of the church, were called Nephites, though they came out of the 10 tribes of the house of Israel. Right here, they ministering to 3. This is Elder from One Nation, One Power, showing you that Moses is LEHI and that the Nephites are the children of Israel. Shalom.